What's up, bankers?
Hello, bankers.
How is everybody doing?
How are you doing, Matt? School's out for summer. Yeah. Formula One is out forever. Yeah. And it ended on a fucking snoozy McDoozy. Max Verstappen wins. I guess this is the greatest team in Formula One history. Red Bull? I mean, right?
Is it the greatest team? I mean, because look, if you take Max out of it, it's pretty good. Is it the greatest team ever? Because
what do you mean?
Or is Max the greatest ever?
Well, it's Max, the car, and today there was a 1-2 for Red Bull. Now that because Helmut Marko said Sergio's given up the world championship dream. Or what did he say? Wait, he said something. No, hold on. I want to get this right.
I literally wrote it down. Hold on one second.
I got it.
Okay.
He has woken up from his world championship dream, said Helmut Marko about Sergio Perez, dude. Marko doesn't give a fuck.
Dude, he should really just go into podcasting. I mean, he's a hot take artist. He's honestly, at this point, a better hot take artist than a driver scout.
He's a better hot, yeah.
Because what's he been doing? He's like, oh, let's hire Colton Herta. Oh, fuck, he doesn't have the super license points. Let's hire Nick DeVries. Oh, fuck, let's reheat Daniel Ricciardo. Like, these have been his most recent hires, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, but his hot takes are there, dude. I mean, we talked about, like, if I got hit by a car.
Yeah.
Or like if I died, like, would I want you to take another lover?
Right.
And the answer is no, but if you could have Helmut as a co-host, that would be amazing.
Right. Yeah. Right.
I would let Helmut fuck the girl that is the pod with you.
Right. Yeah, Helmut would come.
No, you're the girl. You're the girl.
Right, of
course. Helmut
could
could fuck you better than I could ever fuck you.
I would spread my legs for Helmut. Absolutely. 100%. Helmut Marko, yeah, he needs a pod. He would, listen, we've been charting on Spotify, but Helmut Marko would fucking shoot all the way to number 1 because the guy's got fucking hot takes. And you know what? His hot takes are similar to our hot takes, which is that Sergio Perez was trying to win a world championship despite the fact that that's not in the fucking cards because Max Verstappen is the GOAT. I mean, this is the greatest. This is the greatest. It is the greatest run of dominance. Like, it's going to be the most historic run of dominance in any Formula One season ever. That is what's happening here.
Yeah, we're so traumatized from Miami that we weren't even sweating whether Max was going to win this race after the engine penalty.
Oh yeah, it's not
after
even a
Miami.
question.
We were like, ooh, maybe Perez can win, and like from Max from P9, and it was like, idiots. You're an idiot. Yeah.
No, it's a foregone conclusion. He's going to win every single race for the rest of the fucking year. That's just what's going to happen because
if GP doesn't kill him. If GP doesn't
kill him. Oh my God, yes. Yes.
If GP doesn't murder him.
Let's get right the fuck into it.
Yeah.
The dynamic with Max and GP is really the most it's fascinating. It's incredible.
They love each other, though. They love each other.
They do love each other. Here's what the dynamic is, because I was trying to think about it, because they bicker and they do this back and forth, and they're kind of rude to each other, but then there is love there, and it's like when you're at a dinner party.
You can't be that rude and bitchy to someone that you don't love and doesn't love you back, I feel like.
Right. But they are like a couple at a dinner party who have been together for like 30 years, but they're like constantly fighting. And they're constantly like taking jabs at each other. And yes, it does make everyone at the table uncomfortable. Yes, it does. But also, everyone at the table is kind of jealous because at least they still got that, like there's still energy there. As opposed to like a boring marriage. It's like, the sex is good in that marriage. You know what I mean?
Well, it's so funny. We're definitely going to do a Love Island recap, but it's so, maybe I'm just damaged from my relationships. Yeah. But when I look at like a Whitney and Locken or something, when I look at a couple that doesn't fight, I'm like, they're fake.
Yeah.
How could you not fight? You know, where you look like when you look at like a Ty and Ella, you're like, that's a real relationship.
Absolutely.
It's a fucked up relationship. It's a flawed relationship, but those people like really care about each other because they're
right. And you know why? Because people are flawed.
Yeah.
People are flawed and power struggle. You know, in relationships, they say there's the honeymoon stage, then there's the power struggle stage. And then if you can get over the power struggle stage, you get to real partnership. And that was a big eye opener for me because like in my relationship, it was like we were in the power struggle stage for like a few years. It was like, oh, like this is a power struggle because me and my woman are both powerful people. Okay. But like when I look at Max and GP, I'm like, they're in the fucking arena. Like they're in the mud with each other. But there's partnership there, but there's also power struggle.
Yeah, well, it's crazy how much power GP has because he's so fucking sassy with him.
So sassy with him.
It's like, can you use your head this time? Can you not be such a fucking moron?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
I'm like, wow, he could like really talk to him that way. And Max is giving like cheeky guy who fucked up. And he's like, what do we say? What do we say? We do pit stop practice? You know? And he's like, not today. What do you say? I blow out my tires and we do pit stop practice? Nope. That was amazing. That was fucking incredible. Not this time. It's like, you spent all. So Max is like the guy who makes all the money.
Yeah.
He's the breadwinner.
Yeah, right.
And GP is like the partner who keeps the book, who doesn't make the money, but he manages the budget.
Yeah. Right.
And Max is like, hey, can I spend some extra tire budget? And GP's like, no. You fucking spent all your allowance that I gave you that you made last week. Yeah. And I'm tightening the belt this week. It was incredible. It's like, whoa. This is crazy.
When GP was like, when Max was complaining about their getting out of Q2 in P10.
Oh, yes.
And then he was like, well, and GP's like, well, you got through. It's like, we're fine. And he goes, yeah, but it was still fucking shit, mate. It was still fucking shit. And then GP's like,
fucking execution.
It's fucking execution, man. And then GP's like, okay, yeah, I mean, whatever. I mean, would you like to have been out there when everyone was getting 2 seconds extra on the lap? Or hey, how about for this next round, you just do my job? Hey, you call it, you do whatever you want, you do it. Hey, fine, you drive the fucking car, drive the fucking car and do my job at the same time. All right.
But then he was like, oh, how would that have gone if you were down on power and your tires were fucked? And the track was maturing. How would that have gone? He gives it right fucking back to him. And
then Max is always the one, because Max is always the one, like then later being like, yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, you get you know. GP's never like, sorry about that, Max. You know, it's like, no, Max is the toxic one who throws down the fucking good dick, is what it is.
He's like, Stella. Stella! He's the one.
And then GP comes out of he comes out of the balcony and he's like,
There's a great I forgot. There's a great playwright. I forgot his name. He wrote forgot his name. A very legendary playwright. Oh God, it's gonna bother me. Anyway, he went to Tennessee. He saw Streetcar Named Desire.
Yeah.
And he was like, he was a very dry playwright, and he was like, I don't get why Stella would ever be with Stanley. I just don't get it. I hate this play. I hate Streetcar Named Desire. And then Tennessee Williams heard about it.
Yeah.
And he just went, obviously he's never had good sex in his entire life.
Yeah. Well, it's like those. That's the thing. Yeah. That's the thing with those couples. It's like when you see a couple who've been together for a long time and they fucking bicker. It's like the sex must be amazing. I mean, that is what keeps it in. And listen, if driving the car fast is the equivalent of fucking, then no one fucks better than Max and GP, okay? No one does it better. No one maybe has ever done it better than these two fucking guys and this fucking car. It's legendary. I mean, it's unbelievable. He he burns his fucking tires trying to get the fucking fastest lap, and then they're like, Max, take it easy, and he's like, no, I can just get what lead do we need? I'll get you that lead. I don't give a fuck. I'll do whatever. I'll do whatever. I'm fucking you know the aliens, you know, we just found out that there are aliens, right? And that when the aliens there
are aliens? That's been confirmed?
Yeah, like there was people like testifying in front of Congress that like we found these unidentified objects, and they found like, you know, people in them or aliens in them. Yes, dude.
It's been confirmed.
Yeah, I mean, this is what these guys are saying and testifying in front of Congress, who like, you know, were part of this division as part of the government, who like, you know, found these unidentified objects. But like some of them are, you know, they describe like seeing, and they you know, the ships can just move in any direction as fast as the fuck they want. That's Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen is a fucking alien. The guy is a fucking unidentified object on the fucking track. I mean, no one can do what he can do. No one can do what he can do.
Yeah. Yeah,
he's fucking unbelievable.
And that was amazing when Max burned up his tires in that first stint trying to get the fastest lap. He's like, "Well, you blew your fucking. That was smart. You're a fucking idiot." TV's like, "You're a fucking moron. You're an idiot."
Yeah,
I told you not to do it, and you did it, and now your tires are fucked.
Yeah, yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. The amount of respect that Max has for him.
Yeah,
but that's the thing with with bullies is that's how you have to treat a bully, is you have to just give it back to him. That's the only way he'll respect you.
You got to fight fire with fire.
Yeah.
You got to do that. But you know what's also a testament to their relationship? Is that GP's, you know, chastising him on the radio about burning out his tires, right?
Yeah.
And then Max is like, well, let me just get a lead and we can come in. I'll get the fastest lap that way, you know? Why don't I just do that? And he's like, nope, not doing that, Max. Nope, we're not doing that again. Nope, that's not happening. And then apparently on the pit wall, he goes to Christian Horner, GP, says to Christian Horner, like, should we do it? And Christian was like, no, we're not doing it. So like,
they don't want to enable him.
Well, even when GP is like being a bad guy to Max, he's still like, that would be, you know, he's like still like, I get it, you know. He's like he's advocating for Max on the pit wall.
So well, it's better. I learned this with kids as a counselor. Yeah. Better to be tight and then loosen than loose.
Yes.
Once you're loose, you can never tighten it. Well, you can never tighten it up.
Yeah. Right. Once the cat's out of the bag, the cat's out of the bag. It's on the menu.
Yeah.
Once it's on the menu, it's on the menu.
You could go no, yes. You can't go yes, no.
Right. Totally.
So that's a psychological thing. And they don't want to fucking enable him. And, well, I mean, yeah. And there was that whole thing. I didn't really get the drama of like, they're like, Max, be sensible. He's like, well, are both cars going to be sensible? And they were like, they're having this little fucking squabble over what Checo is going to do. He's like, don't worry about Checo. Worry about yourself. Yeah, thank God. Thank God that like in lieu of a 2-car battle in Red Bull, it's just Max and his own fucking demons. I want a new category, just Max's useless radio of the day. The wind. The wind again. I had to grab the steering wheel extra tight, and GP was like, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Max useless.
And the wind. Max's relationship with the wind. You know why? Because he's an alien, and they don't have wind on his planet. You know, the planet where he was raised actually doesn't have wind, so he hasn't had to fucking deal with it. So he's like, the wind is so weird. He's always talking about how strange the wind is.
Well, because like wind, when you think about it, doesn't make any sense. You're like, what is this force that's blowing on me?
You
can't see it, but you could feel it.
Right.
Let me tell you something. I was in Belgium like a couple of weeks ago, and it was because my girl likes to travel all the time. And it was Belgium is weird. And it does rain all the time, and that's where Max is from. You know, his mom is Belgian, even though he claims to be Dutch. You know his mom. And they claim Max over there heavy in Belgium.
Oh yeah.
Belgium's a fucking weird country. You know what I learned is is it was Germany and France were fighting over it a lot, and it was part of Spain for a while and part of the Netherlands for a while. It was part of, but in the Napoleonic Wars, Germany and I believe it was Austria or Germany were fighting over it for like in the Napoleonic Wars.
Okay.
And then at the end, they were like, you know what? Fuck this. We got to stop fighting over this country. We'll make it its own country. And so they made it its own country. And then they just put a king in there, Leopold the First. And then Leopold the Second was like low key worse than Hitler. And he built rubber in the Congo. And this guy was like an evil genius. But anyway, Belgium's a whack country.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's kind of neither here nor there. It's kind of like, what the hell even? It's like they claim French fries. They're kind of French. It's like they're like a mutt. They're a mutt.
Half of them speak Dutch, Flemish, which is like its own form of, it's basically Dutch. And then half of them speak French. Right. So there's half of the country is Flemish and the other half is Walloon. I learned.
Yeah.
There's a whole.
See, those are two fake things. You know, you just said two things that are fake. You said two things that are fake. But Matt, you know what's not fake? Our daddies of the pod. Sorry we took so long to get to you, daddies, but we got to thank our daddies: Kayla, Robin, Jordan Texera, Jay Lingle, Spencer Grieve, Javier Mera, Sheila Valeri, Chandler, Luana Galbano, Ali Santana, Carla Warlow, Kimberly Whalen, Fernando, my gosh, 6969, Donia Denad, Jimmy, Mohammed Patel, Kimmy, sponsored by Mommy of the Pod, Michael Gervasi, and Hollister 584. Two new daddies, Michael and Hollister. Thank you so much for being a part of a fucking resistance that is the Patreon. If you want to be a daddy of the pod, you can go to patreon.com/TRF pod, and we will say thank you, daddy, every single regular episode. Okay.
You know who else claims Belgian parentage? You know who else has Belgian parents but is like denies his Belgian parentage?
Who?
But they claim him heavy.
Yeah.
Lando Norris.
Lando.
I was talking to some Belgians about F1 and they were like Max and Lando, like they claim Lando too over there.
Well, of course,
because he's got a Belgian mother.
Right.
You know, this wasn't his weekend. You know what's interesting is I feel like he had a bet the worst crash of his career he had in Spa.
Yeah.
Was it last year or the year before? I think
it was the year before.
Qualifying.
It was the year that Russell, where it rained out and Russell got P2.
Right.
Because it was really bad rain and he shunted very hard during qualifying.
Yes. And so he damaged the car in qualifying on Friday.
Yep.
And then Oscar had the measure of him Oscar almost had pole. Like Max just fucking stole it from him. Yep. I'm wondering if he just like if he kind of lacks confidence there or what his deal is there. Since that crash, I know that the conditions were evolving. It was a very complicated situation. But I mean, I feel like this has been a coming out party for Oscar. I don't know. It's just
in a way. I mean, he had a I mean, today, they were a nightmare in the dry conditions. So that
because they had set up for the wet. They were set up. They were set up like very well for the wet, and in a way that the other teams were not. So, but he actually had a very impressive race today, despite listening to him after the race, because how quickly Lando forgets where he was a mere like 4 fucking weeks ago, because he was talking about today's race like it was a travesty. He was talking about today's race getting P6 like it was like, oh my God, well, you know, why even suit up if you're going to have a day like today? It's like a month ago you were like P18, lucky to get You were fucking like lucky to get points, Lando Norris. Yeah. Like, let's have a little bit of perspective for where you were to where you are. But he's young, and how quickly the young forget. But no, today he actually had a very impressive race because he actually made soft tires at the end of the race last. Like he did in a very impressive stint. He made them last very fucking long, and he made up a shit ton of time when there was that little bit of when it did get wet for like that 10 minutes. He made up a bunch of time there and was able to actually squeak out a
a position that he actually really was not in the position to get today at all.
Well, I'm just frustrated because this was almost like the Oscar Piastri is the ultimate the ultimate bitch weekend. I mean, it was all set up. He outqualified Lando on Friday, outqualified Lando on Saturday, got P2 in the sprint race, and
was
then
leading the sprint race.
Was leading the sprint race.
How were you fucking freaking out when you were seeing that? Because here's
no. I knew he wasn't gonna.
But were you psyched? You were. I mean,
I was psyched. I was psyched that he outqualified Lando and was on the front row for sprint race, obviously.
Yeah.
And I was very psyched for the but I was devastated for the race. I mean, to just get hit on the opening turn by the most mid drive. He's so fucking mid. He's the biggest fraud. If he wasn't so handsome and charming.
Yeah.
I mean, he's so, you know what? And by the way, Oscar said it was a racing incident. He was pretty chill about it.
No, he was he pretty chill about it? They asked, they cut to him after the thing, and he was like, I don't know what he was doing, man. He just turned into me like I didn't exist. I mean,
no, but afterwards,
immediately after. No, but I know. But his radio immediately after, they were like, "What happened there?" And he was just like, Oscar, what happened? Or, are you okay? And he was just like, they cut to Oscar, and he's like, I don't know what he was doing. I mean, he just turned into me like I didn't even exist. I don't know what was happening there.
Yeah, I mean, anybody else would be screaming like a wounded eagle. This
kid must have the Alex Honnold thing where like his heart rate never goes above like 100 BPM. I mean, he's unbelievable.
All right, well, this is one of the reasons why I love him. He's like this little latchkey kid with an abusive mother. Okay. All these people on the internet who talk about, oh my God, Oscar's mom is a legend. Like, for those of you who don't know, Oscar's mom like trolls him on the internet.
Yeah.
And she like outs him for using fake tanner and says that he doesn't text her and blah, blah, blah.
She subtweets him like
she
constantly.
Subtweets, like constantly subtweeting him. And all these people are like, yes, queen. Like, don't we love Oscar's mom?
Yeah, Oscar's mom's such a legend. What a legend.
And all the people that do that have mothers that love them unconditionally and never give them shit. And I hate those people. I'm like, you don't actually know what it feels like to have a mother that outs you on the internet? Because I do, and let me just tell you something. It fucking sucks, okay? I have a mother who thank God I'm not this famous person.
Yeah.
But my mother has... Like, because I would be fucked if I was. If I was a famous person, my mother would be Nicole Piastri. My mother started a blog. I'm not going to say what it is. Well, because you motherfucker. I mean, you guys will be able to find it.
Guess what? They'll be able to find it.
Yeah, Ellis Offen. You'll be able to find it. But I remember I had like a herpes scare when I was in college.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
I had a herpes scare when I was in college, okay?
Yeah.
So this girl that I used to be with, like, calls me and she says she has herpes and that I gave it to her and it was all my fault and, like, I'm a horrible person. And I freak out, right? I'm a hypochondriac at that point anyway. So I'm like, and I was home for spring break, right?
Yeah.
And my mom was like, so you're really going to spend, like, the 2 weeks we have to spend together, like we're going on this trip and you're just this is gonna be you, like this is gonna be the vibe.
Yeah.
You're sad that you have herpes? And I'm like, yeah. and my mom, her vibe was like, why does this always happen to me? Mom, why can't we just enjoy time as a family together? And then I get the results back and I'm negative, and turns out she was negative too. It was like the doctor missed. Anyway, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
But then I have like women coming up to me at school.
Right.
Being like, because my mother went to the same school as me and anyway, so women coming up to me at school being like, Matt, do you have herpes? That I'd been with. I had women coming up to me at school being like, Matt, do you have herpes? I'm like, actually, it's a kind of a funny story. I don't. I just got tested. So like, you have nothing to worry about. It's just like, well, your mom is posting on the alumni page that you have it. I was like, what?
Yeah.
And my mother posted this like, doesn't my life suck? My son is a hypochondriac. He thinks he has herpes, and it ruined our vacation. And then she never like resolved it. She never said, "Oh, by the way, he doesn't have herpes." So like a bunch of girls that I had slept with like then thought I did, and then like was asked. It was a fucking nightmare. But anyway, the point is, it's really not fun when your mom like outs you for shit on the internet. And that's not legendary behavior. Like, let your 22-year-old son live his fucking life. Like, you know what I mean? As a public figure.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, she's such a... No, she's not. This is why he's this quiet kid who takes out all his rage on the track.
Yeah.
That's what he does. I relate to him so much.
Yeah, in an environment that he can control, because you know who he can't control? His mom.
He's driving 200 miles an hour to get away from his fucking Jewish mother. She's not Jewish, but she feels Jewish.
She feels Jewish. She does feel Jewish.
So Jewish.
She feels
Oscar
very
during the
Jewish.
pandemic. He was like, I've been spending this pandemic like watching a lot of darts, and she's like, oh, you've been watching darts, but you haven't had the time to text me back. Savage.
Yeah, dude, yeah.
Fuck all these people and their mothers who don't troll them on the internet. They don't understand. But anyway, Carlos Sainz, right?
Yeah,
Carlos
right,
Sainz.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, but back to
Back to where we were. Okay, back to Carlos Sainz. Yeah.
way afterwards. Carl, like I think afterwards, Oscar said it was a racing incident.
Yeah.
They asked Carlos if he had a bad start.
Yeah.
And he goes, I didn't have a bad start. I tried to overtake Hamilton, and I had a lockup. Then there was the contact with Oscar. It was very unfortunate. I think more experienced drivers know that you don't go for the inside at Spa, but I don't want to blame him too much. And then on Twitter, he said, not what we wanted today. Racing incident, but Oscar was too optimistic. He was never side by side, and that move was never really worked in Spa. Congrats to the teams, blah, 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 blah. And I go, wait a minute. You're blaming Oscar for this?
Yeah.
You fucking locked up.
Yeah.
Like you tried to get past Hamilton, and you locked up. And this is like your thing to fucking hit people in turn one. Like you did it in Australia. Like you suck at turn one. And where was Oscar supposed to go? Lando was right behind him. He couldn't even what was he supposed to do? What was he supposed to do?
No, there was a huge gap there. I mean, it was a fucking gaping hole. I mean, he was absolutely within his rights to fucking go for there, and it was absolutely. I mean, yeah, I guess he could have backed off and just granted the fucking position to Carlos.
But then Lando would have hit him.
Yeah,
Lando was right behind him.
I see that as being a racing incident to me. As here am my armchair expert, fucking whatever. That's a Carlos Sainz fuck up. Carlos Sainz fucking caused that incident, and he fucked Oscar's race, who the whole weekend was a lot more relevant than Carlos Sainz.
Yeah,
Oscar Piastri this weekend had a lot more relevance to fucking Formula One than Carlos Sainz.
He's the best rookie I think we've seen in a long time. I haven't been following it for a long time, but has a rookie been this fucking incredible?
No. He's the best rookie that, let's see, who would maybe...
People will say Max... George Russell was a great rookie, but who was he beating? He was beating a shell of himself, Kubica, and then he was beating... this is a guy who
it's an interesting... Yeah.
This is a guy who's Max came in and was challenging Ricciardo. That's what Matt.
Well, that wasn't his. That wasn't his rookie year. Was it?
Right. He came in. Well, yeah.
I think he did a full year at Toro Rosso.
You're right.
I think he did a full year at Toro.
Right. Okay. So I don't think we've seen a guy come in.
Well, it's also what's interesting is that, and this is an interesting situation that Oscar's in, because rarely does a rookie get an opportunity at a team that can be challenging at the front like McLaren is. So. it is a rare kind of instance where a rookie comes into a competitive car. Usually,
and with a teammate this good.
And with a teammate this good. So usually they're sidelined at a Williams at when Charles' rookie year, he was at Sauber and they were fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
Max was at Toro Rosso and they were fucking nowhere. So it's like, it's a now, he was P2 in the fucking sprint race. I mean, he's challenging for podiums. He's right there. I mean, I don't know if there's been one that's come into a team this competitive. I think Magnussen was kind of when he came in and he was at McLaren. It's usually McLaren because Lewis came in. McLaren has had like a kind of a history of giving some rookies shots.
Yeah, Magnussen
at good
came
teams.
in, but K-Mag, when K-Mag came into McLaren, I think who was his teammate? Like Jolyon Palmer. Like I don't think he had as good a teammate.
Sure, I see. Yeah.
So
I mean, the most relevant comparison, honestly, that comes to mind is fucking Hamilton Alonso, because but
Alonso was a world driver, was a champion.
Lando Norris is Lando Norris, dude.
Right, the car is not as good, and Lando is not as good as, or not as highly touted as Alonso was at that point.
Yeah, of course.
So I think it might be the best rookie showing since 2007.
Yeah, another one escapes me probably because I maybe don't know as much, but I don't think so. I think probably this is the most impressive rookie season that we've seen since
what was Kimmy's
Lewis
rookie
Hamilton.
Year? When did
I was
Kimmy
just
come
thinking
in?
about Kimmy.
I bet you Kimmy was good as a rookie.
Raikkonen had a solid debut year, achieving 4 point scoring finishes and 8 finishes in the top 8 with a compelling 9 points. So not at the same level as Oscar. No, it's
you also have to remember that Oscar took a year off.
Yeah.
So he was sitting on his ass at a different team. At Alpine for a year.
Yeah.
So not even acquainting himself or simming on a relevant car. Learning a relevant system, like integrating with relevant staff. He was preparing himself for another team on the couch.
Right. Yeah. And
then he moves, and everyone thought this was this was one of those situations that was going to go one of two ways.
Yeah.
And most people were thinking it was the dumbest move. And as early as like a couple of weeks ago, as recently as a couple of weeks ago, this was looking like the dumbest move of all time.
Yep.
And now, I mean, is it because Oscar's so quiet that no one's talking about like how he might be the greatest prospect we've seen in a while? I mean, he's just... George Russell got a lot of hype. Charles Leclerc got a lot of hype. But they didn't have to do... They're not doing what he's done, which is going to a relevant team against a relevant teammate.
Yeah.
No one's fucking done that.
No, he's wildly impressive. He's like a sleeper, though. He's like... Because he's not loud. Because he's just kind of like... Because he's even-tempered... And he's not, look at me. He's kind of just quietly fucking great. It will be if the rest of the season goes and he stays with Lando the whole time, and if he beats Lando and starts to actually pull ahead of Lando, then no one can look away because Lando's so loud and everyone's so obsessed with Lando that if Oscar starts like actually getting the edge on him and starts actually beating him and becoming like, and there's some battles for like, okay, who are we going to give preferential treatment to this weekend? Because like actually Oscar's our guy. Then there's no way to look away because actually that's actually the beauty of the Lando Oscar situation for Oscar is that Lando's so loud and Lando's so that if Oscar beats him, that it's already drawing attention.
Well,
but
here's my question.
So far, but this is what's interesting is that so far they haven't had real. There haven't been a situation where it's come to that because there's always kind of something that gets in the way. Today, maybe they would have been neck and neck, but Oscar was out in the beginning. The race where there was the safety car, and then Lando pitted and got the good pit and got ahead of Oscar. So they haven't actually had to have like a on track deciding moment, like who's going to take this and who's not.
Yeah,
but that will be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, and when they pick Lando, Mark Webber is going to have like fucking PTSD. Mark Webber is gonna fucking gonna go kill Bill on everybody in that paddock when they when there's only when Lando breaks his fucking wing and they take Oscar's off because that's what happened to him with Vettel.
Right.
I mean, Webber is hip to that. Now here's the question. I mean, this is something that Peter Windsor talked about, which is like. Who's like been around forever, very smart moto journalist. He was saying like bringing Oscar aboard was kind of a stupid thing to do because you're putting all this pressure on Lando Norris. Where like Lando's not going off in Q2 or where he's not crashing where he's crashing it if he has Daniel Ricciardo still on the team or he has a Valtteri Bottas on the team, or he has some guy who's not putting all this fucking pressure on him, and that there are people that are of the school of thought that you should just get a guy that you know is going to give you a fucking problem. And I mean, where do you fall on that? Because I get it for like a championship team, for a team like Red Bull, or even a Mercedes, but like. A team like McLaren, where you're just trying to get as many points as possible, I don't necessarily subscribe to that.
I don't subscribe to that. I think honestly, here's what like. I think that Oscar's amazing. I don't think that he's like worlds better than Lando. So I think that like even at their top, they're pretty even. I think they're going to be pretty even. Like maybe with Oscar like having maybe a higher upside, but I think that like Oscar's a top guy and I think that Lando's a top guy and you want the team to get the most points possible. And like, you know, they tried to do, I mean, it's like you don't want a Daniel Ricciardo because he's not even fucking competitive. You want your guys to be, and pretty consistently they're like next to each other.
Right.
You know, they were behind each other today. So you want them to be close. Obviously that's something that can be like,
but
managed,
if it's too
but
close, but if it's too close, it can be like even if they're not even if one guy's slightly worse than the other, like a Nico Rosberg, it could still get explosive. You know.
Well, I think a Nico Rosberg actually like was not anywhere near Hamilton, and he then like had to pull out like 3 more inches of extra dick in order to get the fucking thing done. That's what made
bled
that
to death
kind of,
because
exactly like and then left the fucking sport because he's like I can only do that once. You know,
but like Alonso and Hamilton, like that was so. If they had a clear number 1 and number 2,
right?
Like if they had,
but those guys, but the egos on those two guys, I think it's like is wild. And I think that like Lando's got ego, obviously, but like Oscar seems like he doesn't. And I also think that like Lando is kind of like. Despite whatever things, it seems like he gets along with everyone. Like he kind of like he's kind of cheeky and he can be like kind of like who gives a shit? Who gives a shit at the end of the day? He doesn't bring like the like seething, you know, I need to win energy that Alonso and Hamilton have. Like they don't have that same kind of thing.
Yeah,
there's not a fight to the deathness of it. He's kind of I think he kind of enjoys the fact that like they're both good and it's all kind of going well and he's you know.
I wonder what Oscar's energy does to that garage, like the just being so chill and not being angry over anything and not complaining over anything. If that's like galvanizing,
right,
or kind of deflating, I could see it going either way. I mean,
interesting, yeah. The first thing that came to my mind is that like that people would be like. Wait, can I be on Oscar's side? Because Lando's like bitching fucking constantly, and Oscar doesn't seem to complain ever. It would be kind of nice.
No, I
to
would
just, like, hang out
much rather be on Oscar's side. But for me, like it would be tough to like when you have a result and you really want to give him a high five.
Right. Yeah.
Like
right.
you don't get any
sure.
like Lando. You'd get the highs and the lows, right?
Yeah. Right.
You get to give him a high five and a hug, but you'd also get to like have to listen to him bitch and whine. Do you know what I'm saying? Oscar feels like you get neither. Right. So I don't know. It's just something to think about.
Well, speaking of Oscar Piastri and the team that he didn't go to,
yes,
Alpine, some fucking big news.
The guillotine.
The guillotine at Alpine. Yes, that is absolutely correct.
Yes.
Call this the French Revolution. Let these motherfuckers eat cake because Otmar's half hour is gone, baby.
Yes. I mean,
Otmar
this is like the mid
axe.
Ferrari. This is the mid Ferrari.
Right.
I mean, you got to think about like what a shit show this has been. You had Cyril, Daniel Ricciardo fucking came and left.
Yep.
Who else came and left? Oscar. They fucking muffed Oscar.
Yes, absolutely
huge. They muffed Alonso. They lost Alonso. I mean, all they do is fucking. Alain Prost left. This is what Alain Prost said about that. By the way, Alain Prost had some fucking words for them. Did you see this?
No.
Did you hear what Alain Prost said about them?
No. What did he say?
Hold on.
I see this. Yeah. Laurent Rossi is the most beautiful example of the Dunning-Kruger effect. That of an incapable leader who thinks he can overcome his incompetence by his arrogance and lack of humanity towards his troops.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's
strong words from the four-time world champion.
From the professor.
Yeah, that's right. Strong words from like the guy who like kind of lacked, humanity in his own fucking like life.
Wait, but so you have this guy Laurent Rossi who is a CEO who recently got punted to special projects. So it seems like he's kind of on the outs. Who was helmet Marcoing a little bit? Who was like taking shots? Like, guys, you better shape up, or I'm gonna fire you. Yeah. So he was, and I think he fired Otmar. And I gotta say, the Oscar Nando thing was an absolute shit show. For sure. But you cannot argue with what that man did at Force India.
Yep.
Was crazy. Was absolutely insane. I mean, that was like Oakland A's level money balling right there.
Right.
And I think, where did they come in, the constructors? Like 4th or 5th?
They came in 4th in 2020.
Yeah.
With the pink Red Bull.
Yeah.
With the pink Mercedes. The pink Mercedes had a good time.
Yeah.
Otmar. But here's the thing. Otmar's had a fucking red dot on the back of his head since he fucking fucked up that Oscar thing. They've been ready to fucking... And he was like, actually, it's actually better. What's happening now? I got Pierre Gasly. Like, it's actually better. Sometimes you miss and you actually hit a better thing. So you struck gold. So I'm the shit. Actually, I'm the shit. But this year's been bad for them. They've had a bad year. It's been kind of one thing after the other. Whether it's teammates crashing into each other, whether it's the ever kind of unreliability of that aero department. Not the air department, the engine.
The engine department.
The engine department. But no, they seemingly have more pace. They should be a lot higher up in the constructors' battle than they are currently. And you have to think that this has to do something with this deal that just happened. The Alpine was acquired by a consortium of investors, including Ryan Reynolds, Rob McElhaney. Partial, 24%. But that's a big, that's a quarter of your fucking of the thing, and they're coming in with new money. They're giving new money, so they want to be heard. And what this feels like probably is like, okay, we're going to tank this season because doing it mid-season feels like, okay, well, this one's kind of a bust. Let's start rebuilding now. The Mets are doing this, right? The Mets have spent more money on their roster than any other team, I think, in MLB history this year. And they were supposed to be like World Series favorites, and then like it wasn't happening. Like they were just kind of shit. The pitchers weren't pitching. They got these, they spent a shit ton of money on multiple Cy Young award winners, and nothing. And now they're just selling off the team. They're just like getting rid of people. They're clearing cap space because they're like, this season's a wash. We're not doing anything this season, so why keep these guys on? Let's start looking towards the future. That's what this move absolutely feels like. But then for Otmar to have the weekend that they had,
yeah,
and for Pierre Gasly to get third in the sprint race with all because this Otmar was there. I mean, I don't know if I think he was. Yeah, he was.
No,
there.
he was there the whole weekend.
Otmar was there. This was his last weekend there. Got the axe, but he's still running the ship for one more week. And for Gasly to get that result in the sprint race was.
Gasly had a bad race. They had him on a terrible strategy. They had him on the soft. They did a one stop.
He did the one stop. He tried to do the one stop, and it didn't.
But they put him on the softs forever.
Yeah, I mean the softs kind of proved to have some pace today. Like Lando was on the softs for a very long time. Yuki was on the softs for a while. Like the softs actually could last because they were on, in a way that was kind of surprising, but. They took a risk with that.
But was Gasly on a? But Gasly was on a one stop. Were they on a one stop?
They were on a one stop, but George Russell was also on a one stop. George Russell did a one stop and made the softs last a long time. It worked for George Russell. It didn't work for Gasly.
Because Ocon finished ahead of Gasly somehow, and Gasly way dominated Ocon this weekend in qualifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this Aston Martin being where they were really fucked with everybody's heads.
Yeah,
because everyone's like, all right, we'll be fourth or fifth, and it's like actually you're sixth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They threw a spanner. They threw a spanner into the works.
Yeah.
See, I'm picking up the lingo. They threw a spanner into the works. Yeah, I can do it too. No, right now they're in sixth. And they're with 57 points, and their closest competitor is McLaren, who is just picking up only, they're on the rise, and they have 103 points.
No, they're going to get sixth. They're going to get sixth.
They're going to get sixth. Exactly. So that's why they're doing this, right? Because it's like Williams and Haas and Alfa Romeo aren't going to catch them.
Yeah.
And they're not going to catch McLaren or Aston Martin. So they're just going to get sixth. It kind of doesn't matter what happens to this team for the rest of the year. Like, even if they bring in new people and whatever, the car is still going to be better. And with those two drivers, you're just going to get enough points to hold six. So, why? If you don't want Otmar, then he's gone. You know what? I think it's also part of the Otmar thing. I think Otmar's kind of probably annoying. I think he's kind of he seems a bit like a bad hang. Doesn't seem like a great hang. He's not sexy. But you know who is sexy? Who might be replacing him? Mattia Binotto.
Yeah.
Mattia Binotto's on the short list to replace Otmar Safnauer.
I'm going to get to Mattia. I want to get to Mattia in a second. I just want to say, though, that this organization has been a shit show since before he got there. It was a shit show when Cyril was there. Then they had remember Budkowski? They had a guy there before Otmar. They had Marcin Budkowski. That was the guy before Otmar in 2022. So it's just these executives, they always do this. They fire the head coach, they replace. They replaced the head coach 9 times, and I'm like, it's the GM that sucks. It's not the coach necessarily.
Right.
And no GM, because that's how I kind of think of these guys as a little bit like GMs more than head coaches at the end of because anyway, it doesn't matter. But you're not going to be able. This is something that Alan Prost was talking about.
Yeah.
Look at the best teams: Mercedes, Red Bull. They don't fucking change anything. They keep it's just like a chicken or the other thing. Do they not? Are they successful because they don't change anything, or do they don't change anything because they're successful?
Right. Yeah.
But teams that change things all the time are not successful.
Yeah.
Ferrari changes shit all the time. Getting rid of, they shouldn't, a lot of people said, you don't get rid of Mattia. It's just going to create more, havoc. He actually built a decent car. Let him stick with it, and.
Yeah, we were saying that. We were saying get him the fuck out of there, but
no, we were saying get him the fuck out of there, but now he's gone, and now the problems we were talking about still remains, and the car sucks, and now the car sucks. So I think Mattia going there will help them with the car. They'll build a good car, but I don't know if that's going to help.
It just doesn't feel like Mattia's a team principal. It seems like he's a chief technical officer, or he should be like the head of the. It's just like that's where he's like you're trying to fit a round peg into a square hole. Like he's not that. He's not that guy, and you need. But he's clearly like a fucking engine whisperer. He knows how to do. He's got a lot to offer, but I just don't think that he's got that stuff to offer. I still don't understand why they got fucking rid of Cyril.
Cyril had the Riz.
Cyril had the Riz, and not only did he have the Riz, the guy was a fucking snap.
Yeah. Well, you know what it is? You know what it feels like with guys like Mattia? It feels like they feel like really good TV best friends, or like best friends on a TV show, and then they get to star in a movie or two, and they're like, I'm a movie star now, and it's like, and that's the only way you can hire them is as movie stars.
Right, yeah. They're like, this is my quota.
This is my quota. This is my
quota.
Yeah,
he's got his quote. He's got his quote. Like, once I'm here, I'm not going down. I'm not sliding back.
And it's like he was at Ferrari for so long that he just had to be a team and now he's just the team print. That's his brand now, and it's like,
yeah.
We see this happen in football all the time, where guys become head coaches. Yeah. And then it doesn't work out, and they're fucking offensive coordinators. They go backwards.
Yeah, they should do that. They can have a shit ton of success. Todd Bowles was the head coach of the Jets and didn't work out. Now, it's a shitty situation that he was walking into, but then he went back to being a defensive coordinator for Tampa Bay and won a Super Bowl with them. Because that's where his specialty lies. So that is definitely a thing that happens in other sports, and it doesn't seem like it happens necessarily in Formula One. What else from this week? I want to talk about we were talking a couple episodes ago about whether they should still race at Spa because there was a death a few weeks ago. Delano Van Hoof. I think I'm saying that right. If I'm not, I apologize. But this young 18-year-old kid died at Spa, obviously. And obviously we know about Antoine Hubert. And, for Gasly to have that performance during the sprint race was pretty special. They did a lap around Spa. They ran a lap. Gasly and some of Delano's friends ran a lap around Spa, and Gasly every year he lays flowers down where Antoine passed. And it was a really special, it was just it was one of those moments in sport, and, it's like the sprint race, there's a lot of back and forth about it, and, ultimately the sprint race was the rain obviously made it exciting, but the whole kind of purpose of it is that you get different kinds of results, and this was a pretty special result that we were able to get. Gasly getting that moment, all these years later at this track was pretty special. It was a pretty beautiful moment in sport. So I just want to kind of acknowledge that. And I was worried going into this weekend because we knew it was going to rain. It rains there a lot. I think there was some stat that 1 year there was a period of time where it rained 8 years in a row at Spa. It's just, that part of the world is just prone to that weather. And I was worried about this race with the visibility. We know what that is, especially with these cars now where with the downforce that, they shoot the downforce higher so that there's less dirty air, but that also makes the spray that much more obstructing. So it's that much harder to see. But it wound up being kind of intermittent rain, and it made for a pretty great weekend, all things considered. I don't really know what I'm saying there, but just I don't know. It's just I was worried going into this weekend. And
I think
everyone was okay.
They're pretty conservative now with the rain.
Yeah,
they delayed everything a bunch. They delayed the sessions a bunch.
Yep.
Pretty sure they delayed.
They
delayed
did
this.
four formation laps before the sprint, which I think also helped kind of clear out the water.
Yeah, they put on tires that they don't end up needing because it's just dry or you know. So what's interesting is the drivers actually voted against the drivers voted against making any more changes. George Russell said to the track. We've spoken out about it, and I think between everybody, we've concluded that we don't think it needs changing. They've made a lot of progress with the runoff. That's probably the most important thing. Charles called for further changes. Charles was in the minority, and Zhou and Stroll have expressed a desire for changes to Eau Rouge. But yeah, I think the key is to be. I think they're going to be more conservative about racing in the wet from now on. Right. I think it's if there's anything more than a bit of spray, a bit of drizzle, they're not gonna.
Yeah.
They're not gonna do what they did do in like fucking Suzuka.
Yeah.
If it's they're not gonna there's certain.
Yeah.
Like, they'll let them race in like torrential downpour, but not here, not in Spa. I think is the new way of doing things, which will be challenging because sometimes it just fucking rains constantly. It's a very Belgium and Amsterdam are basically like Netherlands is like underwater half the time, so it's a pretty wet place. But yeah, I do want to add one thing to the Issa wrote this in her notes about Otmar before we completely leave.
Yeah.
Otmar's big thing was like it takes time.
Yeah.
Which is always like something that, a coach or a GM will tell their boss to get more time, but I really do buy that in
right.
I mean, if you look at Aston Martin, Otmar said where is it? Do you have it?
I have it.
Yeah,
he said, changes take time. I signed some good people from other teams, but they won't join until 2024 or 2025. And then he said, I always say you can't get 9 women pregnant and hope to have a baby in a month.
He always says that. That's like his go-to line. He says he always
say Otmar, it's like, hey, Otmar, maybe you're getting fired because you're sexually harassing people, okay? Because you're inappropriate in the workplace.
Maybe that's an HR. Maybe it's an HR thing.
Yeah, it's an HR situation. That is a wild thing for him to say.
That's a wild thing for him to always say.
That's a wild thing for him to say once. It's a deranged thing for him to say often. Otmar, dude. He's like, listen, I've tried. It's
what I've been constantly saying to Laurent Rossi. You can't impregnate 9 women and expect the baby to come out in a month. As I tell him every day. As I tell him every single day.
I mean, people do have like these like turns of it's like that's like a turn of phrase, right? He just like that's a thing to say, and I bet that he's like said that a lot to people.
Yeah,
and he thinks it's like
my dad has some wild ones for sure.
Yeah, these from the previous generations have some kind of like, wait, what did she just say?
Yeah,
sorry,
it's like if the queen had balls, she'd be king kind of vibes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, do we have to put it in these terms?
Yeah.
You could say something about like, I mean that could be applied to like lots of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't build the first house. You can't build the first floor of 9 buildings and expect to have like a 9-story building. You know what I mean? It's like you could say that about.
That's pretty good, Brian.
That's pretty good. It's like the same sentiment, but not talking about impregnating 9 different women. What are you doing?
Also, you can
Otmar?
impregnate 9 women, and it can't. How did it go again? It's not even like quick.
The quote is, I always say, you can't get 9 women pregnant and hope to have a baby in a month.
That's not even like quick.
Yeah, I know. You
like,
want it to be like,
at least if the queen had balls, she'd be king. Is quick.
Right? Yeah. Boom. You throw that on a fucking bumper sticker. You know what I mean? That's a long ass bumper.
You know what
sticker.
my dad used to tell me? You know what my dad used to tell me when I was a kid?
Yeah.
And I never got it till I was 14 or 15. He used to just look at me and say, the best part of you ran down my leg. He used to just say that to me. And I used to be like, I used to just be like, okay. And he used to say, and then he said it to me one time when I was 15, and I was like, oh, Jesus. Wasn't until I was like sexually active that I kind of
Right,
got
until
what,
you knew, run down your leg.
Oh, God. Disgusting.
Oh,
yeah.
Otmar.
Yeah.
Booby, no. Let's get into our awards. I just want to make sure that when we do our awards, we talk about Yuki Tsunoda. I don't know if we're going. I don't know if we're. Yeah, we'll throw him in for fucking daddy. So let's do our award ceremony. Hottest moment of the day.
It was got to be Ocon. Taking out Yuki.
Yeah, that pass on Yuki
that was sick.
Fucking nice.
That was a nice one. Daddy of the day.
That was nice. Yeah.
Daddy of the day was Yuki Tsunoda, wasn't it? Do we want to give that to Yuki?
Well, wait, hold on. I want to do hottest moment of the day. There was a double team on Lando. That was that felt pornographic. I was like, Lando was just being a sitting duck, and everyone was just kind of running train on Lando. That was amazing.
Who ran the train on Lando? Who was
I don't even remember. It was like It was like Albon and fucking like Hulkenberg. It was like it wasn't impressive people.
Albon
was
Albon. I don't think Albon scored points, but he was like in the mix.
Yeah.
Why is Sargent? Why is nobody talking about how Sargent just sucks?
Yeah, he's not. He's getting shown the fuck up. He's getting shown the fuck up.
He really is not good.
Yeah,
he's just not in the mix.
Yeah. No, he's not there at all. He's nowhere.
Yeah. Even Joe was like last year was like out qualifying Bottas occasionally.
Yeah.
And had some flashes.
No, he's nowhere. Which is I don't think it's necessarily just that Albon's. I think Albon is great, but I think that Sargent just kind of doesn't. He ain't got it.
I really, we have an interview with Scott Speed coming up.
Yep.
And Scott Speed was like, his whole thing why he hated Formula One, right, is that you could really only compare yourself to your teammate. Like, for surezies. And it's like, who has Albon beaten up on? Latifi and Sargent. We have no idea. We know Latifi sucks. We don't really know,
No, I agree. Listen, I don't think that Albon's beaten anyone impressive, but that also doesn't mean that Albon isn't good.
No, it doesn't.
Just because Albon hasn't beaten anyone. That's why I say, I think that Albon is very good, but I don't know if he's
great.
If he's actually great because he hasn't beaten anyone impressive. But despite the fact that it's Latifi and despite the fact that it's Logan Sargent, they are still fucking. It's like you would think that maybe once that they would have an edge, but Albon doesn't even. He's dunking maybe on fifth graders, but he's not.
Still dunking.
I don't know. He's still dunking.
Yeah. I think that. Yeah. Yeah, even Lando, he was showing up Carlos a little bit in his rookie year, which was nice.
Yeah, he was around. He was
around.
Lando. It wasn't just. He was kind of. There were moments. There were flashes.
Yes.
What you want from a rookie are flashes.
Yes.
You don't need him to put in an entire consistent thing. That's actually what Lando. I'm sorry. What Max was talking about Oscar. And at why he was praising him, and he was saying, he's had great pace this year, but what's most impressive is how consistent he's been. Because that's not something that you expect from a rookie. You don't expect a rookie to come in and week after week be on the pace, right there. That's unusual. That's what made Hamilton's rookie season so impressive. That's what makes a rookie season really impressive is beyond, what makes it kind of impressive is you see a moment, a flash, and what makes it really impressive is that you can see consistent, solid outings every week. And what Lando had his rookie year were flashes. And what we're not seeing any flash. It's a fucking, there's rain, but there's no lightning. That's what's happening.
The best thing that we could get
Florida,
from Logan.
He's a Florida boy, and there's no fucking lightning. Okay, there's no lightning in Florida.
The best we can hope for with him is just nothing, just to see nothing, because if he's showing up on the screen.
He doesn't even he doesn't crash, so he's not like such a fucking liability like De Vries was, but he is.
That was so funny when Alonso crashed, and I was so positive it was Stroll.
Yeah.
I would have.
I was about to ask you about that. Yeah.
Well, it was so funny. They asked Alonso about it, and he was like, "Yeah, well, I was out of the points. I might as well go for it." That was his whole thing. He was
sure.
I was like, "Oh, well, in that case, it kind of makes sense." He was like, "Fuck it, it's a sprint race."
Yeah.
I better. I'm not going to pass him. I'm not going to pass Hulkenberg I'm not going to undercut him.
Yeah.
I might as well fuck it. And he went for it. And
the Astons are kind of nowhere right now. It's like they're kind of in no man's land. So, I think he has a little bit more of like a fuck it attitude in the, I mean, let's not forget that he said that he would be on every podium for the rest of the season. And now he's literally like, LOL.
He had a good race. He had a good race.
He did. He
picked up like 4 or 5 places in the start.
Yeah,
and he only started one place ahead of Lance. I was like, Lance got so lucky because he outqualified Lance by like a whole second.
Yeah,
like a whole fucking second. But Lance was right behind him somehow.
Right,
because I think they both made it to Q3, and Lance was the worst in Q3, and Alonso was the second worst.
Yeah, well, when there's rain, those gaps can get pretty big. I mean, like the field has tightened a lot, especially in quality as we've seen. But with the rain, it's like, I mean, Max. That was what when Max didn't make it into Q3 and he was P10. He was still like 0.6 ahead of Yuki, who was in P11. It was like it was still like a pretty safe P10,
right,
to get into Q3,
right. But well, before we move, like we're gonna get to Yuki, but while we were on the sprint race for just a second, Hamilton's penalty.
Oh yeah,
what do you think?
Yeah, that was a deserved penalty.
Wow, deserved penalty.
I think that was. Yeah, I think that he absolutely, like, I don't know what happened there. But he did not hold the racing line. He fucking like.
It was wet. It was wet. He had a little wobble.
He had a little wobble, but I don't know if it was. I mean, if it's a little wobble and that's just like a drive, it's just an error, then that's what it is. But like, he fucked Paris's race. I mean, Paris was
But you can't play the result. You can only play that you're not supposed to do that, right? You're not supposed to.
But what did Hamilton say about it? Was it like he just wobbled because it was wet?
No.
Is that like why it happened?
The car. He didn't move his steering wheel. He just put the car where he put it. The car hit a wet spot and it just moved. Now I think what's fun, what's interesting is this is a sprint race, right? There's no other way to fucking get by someone other than an overtake. The whole point of a sprint race is to fucking go for it. You only have he can't like wait 3 laps to fucking line it up. The whole point of a sprint race is to fucking go for it. If you're going to call that foul on a sprint race, then what's the fucking point of a sprint race? Also, let's say you do say that Hamilton made a mistake. You don't have a way to give him a proper penalty because a 5-second penalty is not fair. It's too harsh, given that the margins are so small. On an 11-lap race, you're going to give him a 5-second penalty? That was like when they gave Sainz a 5-second penalty. Remember when they gave Sainz that 5-second penalty in Australia?
Yeah, well, didn't Hamilton still get points? I think he still got points.
Yeah, but he dropped like 7th. A bunch of places. He was. Yeah. Anyway,
I don't know. I'm looking back at this, and it seemed like he just. I think he just was taking the corner kind of too wide. I think that he didn't take the corner hard enough. And maybe it's because it was wet that he didn't want to take the corner hard enough for fear of spinning out. But it wasn't like it wasn't a jink. It was like he just didn't take the corner tight enough, and then blasted a hole into fucking Checo's side pod, and then he was fucked.
Yeah, my whole attitude is like Checo, you shouldn't have been there in the first place. What are you even doing there? Why
Yeah,
are
he's out of
you
position.
even in the position to? Why are you
Sure.
slumming it with Hamilton?
That's what Hamilton said to the stewards afterwards. They're like, so what happened there? And he's like, why is Perez even there? He should be out in front. Fuck.
No, but
Yeah.
But when you're Perez and you go to Christian and you go, can you believe fucking Hamilton?
Sure.
Is Christian like, yeah, I can't believe fucking Hamilton? Or you're like,
right.
what were you even doing there, dude?
Yeah.
You should be 10 miles up the road. You know?
Yeah.
Do you think Christian's sympathetic to him at that point? Like Oscar Piastri,
Yeah, I mean, they like him,
like,
man. I don't know. It seems like they're sticking by him. They're sticking by their guy.
Well, the reason they're sticking by him is because Dan Ricciardo can't get his shit together.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Last week, you, Matthew, on this podcast said that Yuki Tsunoda's career was done.
I don't remember saying that.
You said that Yuki's in trouble.
No, I didn't.
Never happened.
Never
happened.
Oh.
They're like, why? Because you're a dog, just like Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah, well, Daniel did. Well, first of all, Daniel outqualified him in the sprint race, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, he did. He had better race in the sprint race. Yuki also avoided a big collision at the restart after the safety car.
No, he didn't. He locked. He had rear lock, and he spun.
No. It was
no in the sprint race.
He jerked out of the in the sprint. Yeah.
Oh, really? I thought he just fucked that up.
He jerked out of... No. He jerked out of the way because there was back... I mean, he probably judged it poorly, and maybe he had a lockup going into it, which is why he was carrying too much speed, but he was about to crash into the rear of someone, so that's why he spun off to avoid a collision.
Oh, if Daniel Ricciardo had gotten at 1 point or whatever the fuck he had gotten if he'd gotten 8th place, that would have been a disaster. But Yuki had a fucking killer race. He had a killer start. He gained 3 or 4 places on the start. With a gun to his head. He's got that gun to his head. That's right.
He's got the gun to his head. And, I was tracking Yuki's race the whole fucking time.
Oh, I was too. And I was like, where's Daniel? Still in fucking last place? Perfect. I mean, I like Daniel, but, Daniel's good. Like, his life is fine. No.
Right.
Is there a way...
No, we like Daniel, but we love Yuki, so, that's...
The stakes are higher for Yuki.
Definitely. Well, the lows are... It's like, if this doesn't work out, Daniel gets his kind of, his last hurrah. He goes back to living his awesome life. If this doesn't work out for Yuki, it's like, that's kind of it for, that's kind of it. I mean, he could still live a great life, but Daniel gets to leave Formula One right now and be a multi-race winner, won Monaco, accolades up and down,
millionaire,
and then on top,
let's not forget that he's a millionaire,
and world famous and selling merch till the fucking cows come home. Yep. Enchanté, okay, Yuki's not there yet.
Yeah.
And Yuki could get there. Yuki could be that guy. He could be 100% that bitch. But, you got to get the Yuki Tsunoda merch at the redflagspod.com and support the kid because Yuki Tsunoda, he fucking had it today. He was fucking great. He was on those softs for a long time. I was hoping he was going to be able to catch up to the guys ahead of him. He wasn't able to do that. He got that pass from Ocon. He got passed by Ocon, I should say. But... no, it was still a very impressive day for Yuki Tsunoda. A real gritty qualifying and race from him.
Yep.
Yes, Yuki, daddy of the day. Obviously, GP should probably be is a daddy of the day nom as well. Mm-hmm. Also, this episode, there's just a lot to talk about. We got to talk. I'm also giving Daddy of the Day, Max Verstappen. And you know why? Not because of his brilliant performance on track, because of this Heineken commercial.
Oh,
did you see this?
No, I didn't see it. Break it down for me.
Let me tell you, Max Verstappen's got some acting chops. Okay? Listen, I'm a classically trained actor, okay? I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts from one of the most prestigious acting universities in the country, Carnegie Mellon University. Shout-outs, go Tartans. Okay? I've done television. I've been on television. I've been a series regular on television shows. I've done national tours of Broadway musicals. Max Verstappen's got some chops, okay? He can act. He did this. It was this Heineken commercial. Heineken's pushing their 0% alcohol. They're doing a non-alcoholic Heineken, right? Yeah. And so it's this commercial where he's out with a group of friends and they're all drinking, and then he's the DD. And they're like, oh, awesome. Like, Max is the DD. And then he's kind of like, oh, this kind of sucks being the DD. And he's given, like, kind of over it energy, but with also, like, kind of a cheeky...
we know, if we know anything about Max, is he likes to throw him back.
Yeah.
He loves to drive in every situation but this situation.
Yeah. He, because he likes to throw back a couple of gin and tonics and stumble his way back to his apartment. That's what he likes to do. So he had to act because he didn't have to, but he was able to use his real thing of being like, it's annoying that I don't get to drink right now. I want to drink and it's annoying that I don't. But then he also had like the kind of cheeky, but I'm still Max Verstappen. So like, we'll go into the next bar. Okay, I'll get you there real fast. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then it's like, so they go bar after bar and then he's getting more and more annoyed by it. And then they go to the final bar and they look over and Max is drinking and they're all like, ah, damn it. Like, there goes our DD. So then they're getting into a taxi, and then they see Max Verstappen at the bar, and it turns around, and it's the Heineken 0.0. And they're like, oh, and then he gets into his own car and then speeds away into the distance, and he kind of gives them like a, got you, fuckers.
That's a great commercial. Sounds like a great commercial.
It's a great commercial, and Max Verstappen sticks the landing in the commercial. It's fucking, get this kid in the next season of The Idol on HBO.
You know what's funny though? You know what?
Leave it in.
You know what's great?
Yeah.
Is that he could give that he's probably he might be the best actor on the grid. And
because Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc certainly fucking can't fucking act too.
And Checo's not very good either.
Checo's not very good. Lewis and Fernando aren't very good. They have that fun one where they're, when they were on McLaren and they were, who's anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything. They're like
cute.
Racing and it's cute, but they weren't like transcendent in that. It was a good idea.
Yes.
Max has kind of like got some fucking, he's got some BDE in his
And Lewis had one with Will Smith. Remember when he's tied up?
Oh yeah,
that wasn't that. It was cute, but it wasn't good. Like Lewis wasn't good. Lewis was like, "Untie me, untie me,
untie me."
Hey, Will.
I'm grateful to be here, though.
No, but what's really interesting, and maybe this is why he's good at it, is like, it's ironic. Maybe not to you.
Yeah,
but I'm sure he's the one who gives the least fucks being in commercials. Like,
right.
Someone like a Charles Leclerc and a Carlos Sainz or like a Lando Norris are like, why aren't I in more commercials, right? Where Max is like, please, can I be in less of these?
Right,
I absolutely hate these. Charles Leclerc has even spoken to you about like maybe wanting to do some acting. I mean, look at him.
Yeah. He wants to play Charles Leclerc in a movie. He wants to do a little cameo.
So what do you think? Why do you think Max might be the best actor because he fucking doesn't care?
Yeah, well, you know what? That was good. I don't know if this is like. Here's part of the thing. Max had to play annoyed to be there. Max in this commercial was playing a guy who was annoyed by his friends and annoyed to be where he was. And I'm sure Max shooting this commercial was annoyed to be there.
Yeah.
So maybe it's
the
just
director's like, okay, so you're annoyed to be there, and he was like, I got it.
Yeah. Well, it's like that's a smart move on whoever like thought of this commercial, because like if you were to put Max Verstappen in a thing where it's like, hi, I'm Max Verstappen and I love this product, like it's just gonna come across as like hollow.
Yeah.
But they were able to like kind of use his personality. So maybe it's like a thing where it's like, they let him do, it's like it's people can be great playing themselves. So he was just like, they did a good job. He was playing himself, but he had, he was cheeky. There's this moment in the commercial where like a bus of fans is like driving by and they're like, oh my God, Max Verstappen, and he's kind of like, oh Jesus, and he's kind of like,
now shut up. Now I have to watch it.
Matt's gonna watch the commercial and then he's gonna give his opinions after.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good commercial.
Yeah.
Wow. That was good. I mean, great reaction shots. I mean, really understand. I mean, you think
understand? Yeah.
I mean, it's mostly reaction shots, but
he doesn't
speak that much. But reaction shots are tough.
They are tough.
They're harder than you think. Because they're really just pointing a camera at you and saying, "Okay, you're exasperated. Go."
Yeah.
And it's really easy to just.
Just overplay it.
To overplay it, but he really
come into the corner too hot.
Yeah, he
to
really
lock up
comes
the
in at the perfect natural level of exasperated, and his face is crazy. So he knows that he doesn't have to do much. He's got a very expressive.
Right.
His eyebrows are already doing like a lot of work.
Yeah.
So I mean it's I don't quite understand how he's driving all the different cars. I mean, wouldn't they just take the same car?
Don't look that closely, baby.
Yeah, okay.
Did you also? I know this is, but did you see that they maybe broke the trophy from this week as well?
No.
From Spa. When at Red Bull they do like when they they win and they all like they take a picture and then they all like spray.
They all chase Christian.
Yeah, they all chase Christian and Max. Well, I think in the chaos of that, they knocked over the fucking trophy.
Oh my God.
And so
I saw it looked like Helmet was trying to hold the trophy. Like it was like Helmet was trying to save them, but I don't think.
Yeah, I think that maybe one of them fell over and might have broken.
Wait,
so
Issa, can we look that up? Issa,
I'm not sure. Like in the video that I saw, they said that Max was like, "Oh my God, it broke again," but that I haven't seen whether it actually broke or not, or whether it maybe just fell over. But something happened with the Red Bull trophy destroyed for a second week in a row in Spa. A second Formula One trophy was destroyed in consecutive weeks after Red Bull Constructors Trophy broke following the GP. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, they broke the fucking trophy again.
I mean, honestly, the other one bothered me more.
Yeah.
This one was branded to fuck and was like a MS. What's that cruise line? It looked like a cruise ship. That thing could break into 100 pieces for all I care.
Right.
I think part of the problem is they used to build them sturdier, but like Senna could barely lift it in Brazil. He was so exhausted. That they're like these little twinks. They can't lift these fucking trophies after the race. They're too tired, so they build them like very light.
Right.
My God, they just don't care anymore. These things like.
It wasn't Matt. It was the constructor's trophy that actually is the one that broke.
Max just goes, it's broken again. Trophy's broken again.
And Chad goes like, what? They're like, not yours. Don't worry. Not yours, Chuck.
My God.
Okay. Daddy of the day. Yeah, we kind of did that.
Who's Karen of the day?
Karen of the day. Fucking Carlos Sainz. Karen of the day. Fucking blaming Oscar Piastri.
Blaming Oscar Piastri for his for locking up and fucking squeezing him and just saying.
And trying to sun him.
Trying to sun him. Yeah, he's just a lack of experience.
You just haven't been around Spa that much. Bitch, he won fucking Formula 2 in Spa probably.
Yeah.
Okay, and Formula 3. Okay.
And Formula 4. The guy does nothing but win.
He does nothing but fucking get the most out of the goddamn.
And he's so mid. Everybody's so dickmatized by Carlos Sainz. Not us.
Because he's so hot.
Not us.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we got someone recognized us at the Tower of London. We were at the Tower of London. Someone recognized us. It's like, oh my God, you guys are the red flags, and we were like, yeah, guilty. And then his girlfriend,
what of it? Yeah.
And his girlfriend was like, you guys talk a lot of shit about Carlos Sainz, and we're like, yeah, and he's mid. Like, what do you want?
Right. And you know what I said to her? I was like, well, he's hot. He's definitely hot. She's like, that's true. That is true. But he fucking sucks at driving. Let's fucking call it let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
The guy can't. The guy doesn't have the pace.
Yeah.
Even if he's beating Leclerc this year, I don't care.
Yeah.
Doesn't that
is
the
irrelevant.
Fucking stats on
my
it
my feelings
that's
don't
not
tell
the whole
effects.
story.
It's the eye test. It's the eye test. It's like when Leclerc
exactly.
can get his dick up, it's not even close.
Yeah. Red flag of the day. I mean, you could call it also Carlos. That's kind of red flaggy. Someone said Danny Rick's performance today kind of red flaggy. Hate to say it, Danny Rick today was terrible for him. I also, to defend Carlos Sainz, also Ferrari leaving him out there for as long as they did with a fucking gaping hole in his side pod. Was fucking stupid. I was like, why are you leaving him out? He's gonna be nowhere. You can't do Spa lap 1, have a hole in your side pod and leave him out for 25 laps. And they're like, all right, fine, we'll pull him now. That was kind of didn't.
And they
make any
decided
sense
to
me.
retire him.
Let's keep
I'm
going.
just gonna give it to Carlos Sainz. He gets Karen and
Carlos Sainz gets Karen and red flag of the day. Double.
Ruining the coronation of Oscar Piastri. Of my guy.
That's right.
That's
right.
Lando getting away with
Mary.
it again. Lando just escaping with his life again. Oscar's gonna get him one of these days. This fucking little latchkey.
Well, I had Oscar. Let's be clear. I had Oscar getting a podium this weekend in our predictions from last
and maybe you jinxed him.
I was kind of right. Well, I was kind of right. He got second place in the sprint race.
That's right. He did.
Okay. How about the kill fuck Mary? You know what? I'm going to leave Checo out of this because he should be there every fucking week. It should be a Red Bull 1-2 every week.
Yep.
So why don't we do Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, who got 5th?
Putting Charles out of his misery with a death. Fucking Lewis Hamilton for the story. And marrying Alonso.
I am going to. You know what? I'm killing Alonso.
What the fuck? Alonso. Why?
Because he said that he was going to be on every podium for the rest of the season, and you know what? Or you know what? No, you know what? 5th today was impressive given where they were. I'm going to kill Hamilton. I'm going to marry Leclerc. I'm going to marry Leclerc, and I'm going to fuck Alonso. Because I think Hamilton deserved that penalty in the sprint. I think that was a just penalty, and yeah, that's where I'm at. Okay, it's the summer break. School's out for summer. There will be more silly season stuff probably to talk about. We'll see what else comes of it. We've got a couple of great episodes already in the works for you guys. We got Scott Speed. We're talking to our guy Mr. H about some fun topics, and yeah, so stay tuned for that. We're gonna have more content coming for you guys to keep you feeling sexy during this break. And hey, if you're needing some extra Formula One content, you should go to patreon.com/TRFpod and sign up for the goddamn Patreon. We just did a whole ep on Lewis Hamilton's junior career. It's a great one. I'm actually pretty proud of that one, and yeah, there's a whole bunch of extra content there waiting for you. You just got to click that button and fucking subscribe. Okay, Vankies.
Yeah, sign up for the Patreon, Vankas. You won't regret it. We're doing some big things. Big things
over there.
Yeah.
As Zachariah would say. As Zachariah.
I missed the game. The game.
Goodbye, Vankas.
Goodbye, Vankas.